evening. Quite a bit to speak on this evening. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, very good. Here come the Facebook. That's working with us. Ooh, quite a game in the Commonwealth tonight. My New York Knicks decided not to show up. We got Warriors versus T-Wolves. Playoffs. Yes, indeed. We're doing the watch party on this Wednesday. How's everybody out there doing? A lot to get into. Quite a bit. Let's just silence the phone real quick. Okay, beautiful thing. Facebook is ready. Excellent. IG is ready. Excellent. Let's break it down. We're on Twitter. Excellent. Shout out to the quality programming. YouTube is good. Again, because SandCity Sports, we trust but verify. I hope everybody out there is doing okay. That's one of the things that I say. You gotta roll with the punches. You gotta hang in there. And that's something I borrowed from a friend and a fellow men's league veteran. He said it, in passing as we were at an athletic event, and it just stuck with me. And I hold fast to that. You gotta roll with the punches. You gotta. So we're hanging in there. On this Wednesday, a lot to get to. I have quite a few shout outs. You know what I mean? SandCity Sports, never play hating, always congratulating. So there's a number of shout outs that we're going to be getting to momentarily. But welcome to SandCity Sports, folks. To the business. Oh, do we have things to report? SandCity Sports on the Wednesday edition. Oh, yes. Hey. What? SandCity Sports. Wednesday. How's everybody out there doing? Hey. Your boy came good. I'm feeling good. My Knicks took a beating. But I got a lot of encouragement today. I can't wait to share. Ho. Bring it back. On the intro, we bring it back. We bring the intro back. Because made it! SandCity. Got up. I kept it moving. I fell forward again and again and again. And I'm here with you. Beautiful day. SandCity. Wednesday. Oh! Hey! Oh! Okay, went a little bit. Let's bring it back. Let's see, so that people can see the. Can we get the? I want a little production error. No, won't bring it back. I want it so that people can see. And we're just going to. Can we see anything? It's like a full blackout. All right, bring it back. Technical difficulties aside, how is everybody doing? Welcome. Tremendous amount to report. Just tremendous amount. I mean, so much so, I'm not even furious that my New York Knicks let a golden opportunity go tonight in Boston, and then it ended up getting hands laid on them heavy hands, okay, as the Celtics came out and just did what they do. Let me just let folks know if they want to jump on there. Welcome. We got Celtics fans far and wide, east, west, who knows the best. So I want to let them know that they're welcome. You are welcome out there in television land, as they say. If you want to jump on, let me know. If you have a take that you want to put forth, let me know. Mi casa, su casa. Okay, SandCity Sports. on this Wednesday edition, and I was falling forward as I said, um, just kind of moving from one thing to the next. Today was a get to day, okay, not a got to, right? Because I have all get to jobs. All right, I have a number of jobs and responsibilities. I'm not anyone special, not God's gift in any way, shape, or form. Um, but you want to go out there and be active as my chair kind of creaks along. So today was a busy day, just but it was a blessed day and it was a fortunate day, right? Because you know what I mean. I have get to jobs. I don't have got to jobs. Okay, so we're gonna start as we just go along. Um, right, pull that for the people up so they can see. I accept it. No, no, no. Let me see. I accept it. Boom, boom. X out, please, 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 please. Okay. So we're gonna share this with the people so that you guys can see. And you know what I mean, right? That's the Iron Horse. That's Lou Gehrig right there. You understand? Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the planet. Okay, in this famous speech um, that we have in our national culture, baseball national pastime. Uh, times it might necessarily be the highest viewership, even though baseball brings in the big on. Baseball certainly brings in the big on. People might not, football is king, but don't sleep on baseball in terms of the overall revenue. Um, but it's different than what it was in this era. Okay, but still the national pastime. And in this speech, I always reflect back on, because you have to have perspective, and everybody has their different go through. Um, but where am I going with this? Today was a busy day. Um, just one thing to the next. Got to get Willis out. Willis, we're gonna go out late night after this episode. We're gonna do the late night. Told you a little bit about my dog Willis. We'll maybe get some imagery of Willis up there on the screen so folks can see Willis, um, the podcast. The official dog of SandCity Sports. All right, the official guard dog, um, comfort dog, all around. And Willis does it all. You know, he's a lab shepherd mix. I'm telling you about Willis, so I got to get some imagery of Willis for you guys to see Willis um, on the screen. But just busy bumping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Um, and so we'll go for the walk a little bit later after the episode. Get them out, get them moving around. And tomorrow we're gonna go for a real long walk, just because been a little bit of dereliction there. But what am I getting at? Is that today was just one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and then, but then, my sales were certainly just lifted. I had a tremendous opportunity uh, to be on the hot seat on the Odd Couple, a show that I have so much respect and love for, and so that was just a tremendous privilege to be on the Odd Couple. Um, and have that opportunity. So that was just wonderful, and thank you to Rob and Kelvin and Rob G and everybody that's associated, affiliated. Um, just a huge fan of Fox Sports Radio, just a huge fan of sports media and broadcasting. I don't play or hate. I congratulate folks. You understand? So I do my little passion project, as I've said. But yeah, I'm calling in. I want to, and if I can participate, I'm going to participate. If sometimes you get on, sometimes you don't. It's their platforms, and I am a guest. I'm a guest. I'm happy to be in the building. I'm happy to listen and learn. Um, and share community with all these different shows, with people that have reached that those levels. um you know what I mean, and so that's my view. It's not about riding coattails or anything of that nature. I don't play. I appreciate. And if I get a chance to get on, I'm thankful. If they keep it moving, then they say, let's keep it moving. I can continue to listen, and continue to call when I get it. If I can get a chance, good. If I, it's their platforms. Um, so this is just really, frankly, special to me. Um, as we, not, this is a different order, in terms of Lou Gehrig and him having to retire the Iron, the Iron Horse would have never, you seem like he would have just kept playing baseball forever. In terms of how strong he was and committed he was. But, the same strength, dignity, honor that allowed him to be the Iron Horse, shown through, he was the Iron Horse because that was maintained and sustained, up and against the hardest trials. Okay. As we can see there. So that's a little bit of just, but I gotta, certainly I gotta shout out. Just want to give a shout out to Kelvin and Rob for having me on. You know what I mean? And we're gonna keep it a buck. You understand? Gonna give love across the board, right? Because also call in the Ben Maller show, in terms of the Maller Militia. So this is not one versus, this is just all respect and appreciation. Got a shout out from Big Ben the other day, which was wild. As my New York Knicks won the game and we did an episode and people saw it and people showed love, just crazy. So we're going to give love across the board. That's what we do around here. Not one, but I appreciate Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the hot seat. And it's just like great fun. And, it's like, hey, rookie, come on up and, spend a quick second or two in the big leagues. And, you know what I mean? And, right, that's, it's almost like Rudy being called up, to get a chance to be on that stage. So, like, super cool. Right? Gratitude, and you say to yourself, hey, I just keep working, keep grinding, right? As I said, talk to. So respect, Odd Keppel, Kelvin, Rob, appreciate, to be on. Respect. Okay. SandCity Sports, never play hating, always congratulating. Respect. Okay. And you know what I mean? When you get a chance to be on these platforms, Odd Couple, just unbelievable. I'll be up late, so I call in to the Maller Militia. Big Ben is very gracious, allows me to get on, right? Sometimes you get on earlier, sometimes, you know what I mean? You wait a little bit, and it is what it is, because, I'm up, more so in the summer and when I'm on vacation, right? During the year proper, I gotta get some Z's because you got to be up and out there, to hit the road, for the morning rush hour. But what do we, you know what I'm saying? We doing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon around here, folks, and anybody, however you feel, let me know about it, whether you good, bad, and indifferent. I see a couple people on Facebook. I appreciate you very much. Appreciate the folks on the book. Appreciate the like. Means a lot. Jump in the comments. Let me know if you guys, how you feeling. Good, bad, indifferent, let me know. If that's your cup of tea, if you just along for the ride, that's good too. But start the show, we're showing respect and showing love to folks and just appreciation. So Odd Couple, hot seat tonight, means the world. We come here with it. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You understand? We come here with it. appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Much love and respect. Okay? And keeping it a buck. Monday, believe it was, Knicks got the huge win. Did an episode, folks in the Maller Militia saw it, gave me a shout out, called in Big Ben late night, and he referenced it. It just is incredible, means the world. So Big Ben, Maller Militia, we come in here with it. Much love and appreciation. Right? We give him that. We give him respect. Okay? That crouching tiger, hidden dragon for the people. Okay? So that started the show. Had to say that and say it again. Because I'm coming up in here, we're coming up in here, just feeling that, feeling the wind in the sails. And right when you get that little flicker, you're doing your thing. And, a lot of it, what did I get from Coach K? It's the will to prepare. That makes a difference. The games are easy, the will to prepare. All right. So we're all going through our go through, and just to have this opportunity, just me, doing this, one person, but to get the little bit of feedback, even though it's just an ocean of talented people, just to get the little bit of feedback as you're going, right? That's the exception. The rule is the day to day. Okay. But we had some exceptional things happen today, Monday. So it and people like, right, this is just, I think we all kind of connect, you know what I mean? Those things give you the strength and appreciation, and to say, okay, I'm not only I'm gonna keep going, but I'm giving me, okay, I can do better. I want to do better. I want to continue to improve and to grow, right? And that's, you know what I mean. If you're an athlete, especially if you do anything track and field or any distance running, that's like they call that the runner's high. You don't want to do it. You're fighting yourself, but then you get out there, you start busting a move, you start moving, and you feel good. Then you really hit your stride and you say, oh, wow, I can do something, especially as you build yourself up, and you go out, and then after that long, whatever, that little bit of distance that you ran, you get your hydration and you have that runner's high. Oh, this is amazing. It's great. So that's how I'm coming up into the show. So a little bit of runner's high. All right. Now, as they say, my rapture has soon been checked in terms of this situation that happened at the Boston Garden tonight, folks. Okay, I'm floating into this episode on a cloud as if, but I saw what happened tonight. We got to get this for you on the screen because I'm right. You let a man up off the canvas that's got championship DNA, folks. That's got the championship DNA. You watch. We're gonna get the Knicks and the Celtics. So this is because what happened tonight. My New York Knicks just getting the Celtics Bogarden, led by Jaylen Brown and others out there. Bogarden. It was nuts. It was nuts. See, we can't get obviously it's tough to get have to be a couple minutes ago, those shots right from the game. You know what I mean? I don't know. No, the Celtics, they were in the white tonight. Might have been the green. Let's get this for you up on the screen and then just move forward because you know what the heck I'm talking about. You know what the heck I'm talking about. So let's just get it for you on the screen and move the heck forward. We got to discuss what the heck happened. No, I don't want any. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I go from singing the praises to basic things, technical difficulties 101. It's ridiculous. No, can't do CBS Sports. Apologies in advance for this. Let's see. Come on. Just get an image so we can't even get it on this one. All right, I'm going to try one more and we're just going to move on. It's just going to be your boy. I won't even be able to. All right, that's fitting. Fitting to see JB doing his thing. and let's keeps it moving. All right, because we got quite a bit to talk about in the world of sports after the number of shout outs to begin. Okay, what in the world? There it is. You don't let an individual, again, never mind a champion, up off the mat. Okay, it been okay. Now we finna go into this episode. Let me just go around and see what people are doing. Couple people here, couple people there. Please, like, comment, subscribe, do it. You know what I mean, all of that. But most certainly, this is interactive. So if you have something, you see something, say something. Okay, and I'll do my best to get you, to get you involved. But doggone it, okay. You know, yes, the Celtics. That there's a cause. Jason Tatum going down, which nobody wanted to see. Knicks fans, myself, you know, the most of anybody. You don't want to win that way. You want to win with a team at full strength. We don't want any participation trophy nonsense. Okay. And so JT going down, that hurt all of us. That hurt everybody. Okay. Um, and you want to beat the Celtics at full strength. You don't want to, have them not have, 1A, 1B, whatever the case may be. You want the team, right? And so, you know, Boston, the Celtics just feeling that loss, coming out like a wounded tiger, um, playing, with house money, nothing to lose. Jaylen Brown and Josh Hart getting into it. Missoula storming the sidelines. Um, and this game goes from in the balance in the third quarter. The Celtics just, I look at next thing I know, it's 10, 15, 20. They just turned up, the heat turned on the gas and, powered through. And let's just keep it, you know, let's just make it clear, right? Don't allow the Celtics, they already stole a game. Don't allow them to steal, my New York Knicks, your identity, because the Knicks momentum in this series has been based on my team under the capable leadership of Tom Thibodeau being the underdog, being disrespected, discounted, overlooked. Okay? All the jokes, the slickery and the trickery that's been going on. People going into their closet to bring the brooms out. None of this has been forgotten. All receipts, as I say, have been kept by myself and many of the Knicks Nation. Shout out to CP the franchise. We don't play a hate, we congratulate. It's an honor for SandCity Sports to be on at the same time as Knicks Fan TV. That's doing their thing right now. A lot that they're gonna have to. I'm soon as sometimes like the episode on Monday, I didn't finish my episode up. I had, Knicks Fan TV was just going bananas. They were going bonkers. Okay, 2 hour plus episode, a beautiful thing. SandCity Sports, I'm looking forward to doing the twos and the threes and maybe even more as we move into these summer months. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just happy to be here, folks. Cape Cod Kids, SandCity Sports. It is what it is. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in the building. Okay, folks might jump on tonight. We see everybody's busy. We got Celtics fans that they want to say that, you know what I mean, come through. All right. But, fundamental bottom line saying we happy to be in the building right now. So, as things are, sometimes we got to cut the episodes, keep it to this because, you know what I mean? And that's that work-life balance that comes in. Again, as I said, I got get to jobs. I don't have got tos. I got all get tos. I get to do what I do, working in education. And I said on the hot seat, I teach history. This year I'm teaching special education. Okay. But, within that, so I have a background in special education as well. Okay. Moderate disabilities. Um, I said here, but just to kind of clarify, so I teach special ed. That's my title, but I push into history and also English classes. And those things are symmetrical. Um, but just to kind of clarify that, you know, as I said, taught special education. This is my third full year teaching special education. Been teaching for 16 years, so overall majority have been history. But don't mind special education, not one bit. It's all about just it's the same. You go from having classes multiple to having just a number of students that you work with. and do, all of the testing and the IEPs and, all of those things, progress reports. And so it's a little bit of a different look, but it's the same, you know, same journey. But that goes from the standpoint of, as I was saying, you know what I mean? School year's winding down, and it's a good time. We're in the Northeast here, so our weather is starting to cooperate again. The sun is shining, so you're dragging a little bit, but it's it's tough when you're dragging on a Wednesday or Thursday and it's 12 degrees outside, and black, pitch black. But when you're having a tired morning and you walk out and it's 70 and the birds are chirping and the sun is shining, it's just a whole different energy. And so that's what we've kind of gotten into, and certainly not certainly appreciating it. Most notably, today, get a chance to after school to go out and had a flag football game going on, and the sun is shining. It's just a beauty. It's just great. But you gotta go ahead and get a couple Z's, in order to prepare for the next workday. So I say that, in terms of, Knicks Fan TV might be doing 2 or 3 plus tonight, just because I know CP the franchise is hot. You know what I mean? And I know, Knicks Nation, especially CP is, what I mean? I came back to the Knicks when a true general, Tom Thibodeau, returned home, right? When a general came home. Let me see if I can get, because I've noted this for you. I'll see if I can get this for you. If I can get this, do they have the entire movie? This can't be real.
And is then crossed with Dirty Cop.
Oh, no. I was like, wow. I said, they got the entire... I've given a couple shout outs to Brooklyn's Finest. I don't know if I can get that quote for you. Brooklyn's Finest movie. This is when No. I can't get it. I apologize, but and we got, there's a little too much dead air in this episode. I got to step my game up. But he says the general is home, and that's, character comes home. But bottom line, Knicks fans and this Knicks fan nervous. And I remember what I was getting at with that, the long suffering Knicks fans that have been there from day one. You right? Okay. Yes, I supported the Knicks. That was my team of my youth. Born in the great state of New Jersey, grew up in Rockland County, New York. I remember the 91 and the 92 and the 93 when the Bulls just came and but that's when, under the leadership of Pat Riley in those days, right, the Knicks were building themselves up to compete with Michael Jordan's dynastic Chicago Bulls team, to the point where 93, Knicks had the home court advantage. Knicks had home court game 5, Charles Smith missing those layups, right? This I most certainly can get for you on the screen, and it's not going to be a huge delay. We are going there. Okay, YouTube knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Still painful to watch. Right? We're going to stop sharing on the one, and we're going to come back to that screen. But now we, SandCity, now we're getting back rolling. Now we're getting rid of that dead air and coming back to, all right, this is what's in the psyche of Knicks fans right now. When you let a team back in. This is what's in the psyche. You already know.
Ewing out to set a pick. Here Starks changed his mind. Plenty of time on the shot clock.
Plenty of time.
Ewing for Smith. Smith.
Blocked.
Smith stopped. Smith stopped again by Pippen. On a play by Scottie Pippen. Final seconds. Jordan for Armstrong. And the Bulls Bulls have defeated the Knicks. The Chicago Bulls with a couple of spectacular plays.
Bring it back.
Ewing out the seventh pick. Here's Starks, changed his mind. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Down to 10.
Goodness.
Ewing for Smith.
1. Michael getting him. 2, 3. Get it out. 4. Get it out.
Final seconds.
That's Doc Rivers right there.
The Bulls have defeated the Knicks. The Chicago Bulls with a couple of spectacular plays.
Again.
Ewing out the seventh pick. Here's Starks, changed his mind. Plenty of time on the shot clock, down to 10. Ewing for Smith. Smith. Stopped again.
Okay. Screen's a little bit blurry. Let's see if we can get it.
Final seconds, strong. The Bulls have defeated the Knicks. The Chicago Bulls.
We know who that man is. So fortunately, he's not walking through that door. Okay? Fortunately. Right? This is 32 years, folks. This was the 99 doesn't really count, okay? Under the leadership of Jeff Van Gundy, where the Knicks broke through and made to the finals and got, mollywopped by the San Antonio Spurs. So 99 doesn't count. Okay, now, okay, we could go to 94. You could say 94. We could go to John Starks and all those threes in Game 7. Okay, so that's really the 94 against Houston. All right, is the but we never saw MJ lose, and once he started winning championships, he never stopped. So to say if the Knicks would have beaten the Bulls, they would have been the favorites against the Suns. Bruno. Bro might be jumping on as we discuss. Right? So it's a different situation because, you're not talking about the greatest of all time. Obviously, the Celtics, don't have best player, second best, however you want to do. They don't have the dynamic duo, the JB and JT connection, which nobody wants to see. All right. But that's neither here nor there. From the standpoint that they won this game going away. And this team, the Celtics were dynastic. Without Jason Tatum, they're still most certainly contenders. They're not favorites. They're not favorites without Jason Tatum, but they're contenders. You act like, and again, this is a situation where, right, when Durant went down and the Warriors lost the championship to Toronto, and it was a comedy of errors and injuries because Durant goes down, Clay goes, they just couldn't, you know what I mean? But the Raptors still had to beat them. Durant goes down, you act like so they're not just this juggernaut, but they don't still have Steph, they don't still have Clay, they don't still have Draymond, they don't still have Iguodala, Harrison Barnes, others. I don't know if Barnes was still there once they brought in Durant. To go back and look, but right, they're still serious contenders. Okay, this Celtics team, right, just because they're not the favorites, you act like Jrue Holiday, multiple-time NBA champion. There's no sugar water running through Jrue Holiday's veins. None. Zip. Zero. He's about it. Jrue Holiday, and to talk about, I noted this nonsense about this team being broken up. Do it at your own. You break this Celtics team up, at your own discretion is not the right word. I can't think of the statement that I want to say, but I'm going to say This Celtics team gets broken up, the championship window is closed, done, over, period. You go and say, well, we, no, we're going to move this one out and bring, no, it's going to be the same as when you traded Perkins. Okay, done, it's over. You break the group up, you break up the championship window, period, end of story. That includes Crispy P, the entirety of them. I don't want to hear about the second apron. I don't care. I don't care. Mark Cuban noted it. You're going to lose some money. Even if you win a championship, so what? You're going to make all that money back times 10 when you sell the team. So what? You want to go ahead and nickel and dime, then you're going to nickel and you're going to get nickel and dime, and you're done. So Boston, you want to get cute? And no. All right. Notice, this whole conversation out in Denver about, Mike Malone said, we want to keep Bruce Bowen, and they couldn't do it. But at the same time, Christian Braun, it took him some time, but Christian Braun is a dude. And they brought in the younger guys. Now, Mike Malone's a little upset about that, but that's not the reason they lost to Minnesota last year. They lost to Minnesota last year because they couldn't hold a lead. They up double digits in the second half, and you let Minnesota come back, talented, hungry, dominant player Anthony Edwards. That's why you lost. It had nothing to do with Christian Braun versus Bruce Brown. It had to do with you getting Mad Dog in the second half against a comparable team, period, end of story. Because as far as the Denver Nuggets are concerned, they've kept that nucleus, Jamal and Joker, obviously, but also Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. That's their four horsemen. That makes them championship grade. Dynastic? No. Championship grade? Yes. The Celtics are dynastic because the others, you have Jamal Murray and you have Joker. Celtics, Team Knicks. Celtics got JB and JT. So Murray, Joker, JB, JT, you can have that debate. Obviously, Joker's the best player out of all of them, but then you can go Tatum versus Murray, Brown versus Murray, whatever you want to do. Jrue Holiday and Derek White are better, period, end of story, than Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. They just are. I think Derek White is comparable in terms of the different things that he does. He's versatile. He's team first, more so team first with Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter Jr. kind of walks the beat of his own drum. But what Jrue Holiday gives you talent-wise and togetherness-wise is off the charts in both categories. That's why he's on the Olympic team last year. That's why everybody wants to play, He's almost the same way that Jason Kidd was the glue guy on the Redeem team in 2008, because there was most certainly real tension between LeBron and Kobe, which was dissipated based on Jason Kidd's presence. We've seen that. Okay, never mind the fact that, there's talk about how Jason Kidd, first of all, he's going to coach up Cooper Flag if and when he gets there. But this wild talk about, packaging Cooper Flag and bringing in Giannis to go for broke now. It would get, you know what I mean? I don't know, because I think this whole Cooper Flag thing is as much about restoring faith in Dallas and the fans coming back and believing in the team again, as much as, versus winning a championship with players who you can't really relate to or might have a difficulty relating to, even though Giannis is the first-rate guy and there's but that could backfire. Whereas Cooper, he comes in, he grows, you know what I mean? That might be the safer choice. You bring in Giannis. Now, obviously, but who knows how it's going to work? There's the, you know what I mean. Whereas Cooper, you give yourself. If I'm Dallas, there's wiggle room there. Okay, so that's the whole thing that we're talking about. But under either circumstance, and by the way, the NBA, so Cooper goes to Dallas, and they keep him. Fans come back. They're still right now. Obviously, Cooper Flag is not Giannis right now. And you get Giannis, and then you have like a 2-3 year window, right? And then you got to start all over again. Versus Cooper, you don't have, like, next year they're not going to be a contender. Maybe the year after that, if they bring in somebody, a hired gun to give them a big four just for that 1 year, and then you're going to have to start, moving pieces to build around Cooper. Okay, like San Antonio has done, but the NBA, Adam Silver. Furious about the Luka deal, as far as I'm concerned. What does he do? All of a sudden, coincidentally, not the Sixers, but the doggone Sixers, who would have been a good landing place for Cooper. I've been strong on that. I'm continue to be strong on that. But then all of a sudden, you get San Antonio, who gets the second pick. So now Giannis can either go to Dallas or San Antonio. And both of those would be good landing places. But back to Dallas specifically, and I'm going to make the point all the way back to the Celtics. The reason Giannis could work, and Cooper most certainly will work, not just because Jason Kidd coached Giannis before as a younger coach when he wasn't, right? Jason Kidd as a younger coach was in the JJ Redick realm of just he didn't have the gravitas, and he didn't have the ability which you need in the NBA most certainly. You can't, this whole thing that JJ Redick, cursing in press conferences and MF and this. You can't coach NBA players like that, point and period, end of story, unless you are of the order of a Greg Popovich, was obviously, you know what I mean? And the only way, you know what I mean? Like Popovich can do that, but he can coach hard, old school, because, he had Tim Duncan, arguably the most coachable player in the history of NBA basketball. Okay, so it's not only that crop, and it was great to see El Jefe as he's known. Not only did Pop have, the champion, but he had the player, and and Duncan went there. We were supposed to go to Celtics. Patino thought he was getting Duncan. Didn't happen. Set the franchise back a decade at least. But right, you had somebody that you could be. So JJ, you could that would receive it. So Jason Kidd early on was a lot like JJ Redick, just calling people out. And because it's going to get to the point, that's why great players don't always make great coaches, or rarely make great coaches. Great players rarely, and if it's not even a lot of times great players, they do it, i.e. Jerry West. It's not the coaching, it's the organizing. It's behind the scenes. And Jerry West, arguably the greatest executive in team sports history. I said what I said. Go back and check it. Responsible for bringing Magic in. Okay. Responsible for bringing James Worthy in, building the dynasty in the 80s. Okay. Building the dynasty in the 2000s. Going to Golden State, building their dynasty. Going to Clipperland and building them up. Had everything going for them in the bubble, but couldn't execute. Greatest executive in basketball history. And that's not even close. Possibly team sports history. Okay? So Jason Kidd, the great player, early on did not make a great coach. What did he do? Humbled himself. Took the assistant job with, flamed out in Brooklyn, framed out in Milwaukee. Giannis talked about it. When Coach Bud came in, it's coming from a good place. It's Coach Bud Coach Bud, basketball lifer under the Popovich tree and tradition, right? Yeah, who is Budenholzer? Like, who the heck? I'm a coach. I'm an NBA coach. And you might not, I didn't look at me and see, I can organize, I can motivate, I can strategize. All of those coaching, it's leadership. You are that sergeant, you are that lieutenant, you are that general. It's a different skill set than being, the fiercest, like a David Goggins, like the fiercest soldier, the fiercest individual performer, right? I got this from Bill Gates. We can stop sharing because you understand what I'm saying. But we're going to get back to how my New York Knicks feel, because it's a feeling, you know what I mean? It's not a good feeling, because now Game 6 is a must win. And woo! Heck is going on, my people on Facebook. I appreciate you, yo. We in double digits on the Facebook. Every time I see something, when I like actually acknowledge, then like it goes down a little bit. I don't care. I'm just happy. Yeah, I'm happy y'all rocking with me. I'm gonna say it and say it and say it again. Appreciate my people I see on IG. I see Coach Cat in the building on the IG. What? Some of our women's league stars. We got people tuning in. You know what I mean? Because again, if you support basketball, we love and support the women's game all day, every day. I've said it a number of times. And me costs anybody that has a take, but WNBA all day, every day. Okay, every which way. You understand? All right, people talk about you know what I mean? The love for the WNBA, and also our women in the women's leagues that we need to have year round. Frankly, it's just tremendous. Got a chance to referee those leagues, and it's just unbelievable. You don't have no idea. You just think people are just, then you see them out there on the court getting them. It's a beautiful thing. Now, coming back to why, as a Knicks fan, I'm freaking nervous. I'm concerned. I said it. You know what I mean? Because and now hold on. Let me make the connecting point that I'm making, and I'm gonna bring it all the way back to the Celtics. But Jason Kidd, unlike JJ Redick has to learn this. He's still in that new jack, that that new kid on the block, the young and fast, and he don't have no OG in him. Redick don't have no OG in him. He don't have that quiet Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick. And, you can't, you got to just put it on yourself and do the work behind the scenes and just be very subtle. It's almost, you say it's a lesson more is more type of a situation that Redick is learning, that Jason Kidd has, I was going to say mastered, but that's not the right word, because you took away a championship team from him and he didn't do nothing wrong. But Jason Kidd showed mastery by getting that Dallas Mavericks team last year to the NBA Finals. Has nothing to do with them not winning it. They weren't going to win it under any circumstances because the Celtics are dynastic, because of a couple things, most certainly Drew Holiday, which I'm going to get to, which is why I'm concerned. But Jason Kidd, great player, came up under some authority, humbled himself, did those lonely years as an assistant. And then when he got the next opportunity, he's proven he's been ready. He's taken this team to Western Conference Finals, taken the team to NBA Finals. He got the best out of Kyrie Irving that we've seen. I've noted this. I'll say it again and again and again and again. Since he was in high school, which nobody's been able to unlock Kyrie. Nobody. If and including Coach K, because he wasn't at Duke for 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And Jason Kidd unlocked Kyrie like he hasn't been. On the court and off the court. That was Jason Kidd's doing. And if somebody else could have done it, they would have did it. So what I'm saying is this, what's going on, NBA gifting Dallas the #1 pick. It's a situation whereas if Cooper goes there, Jason Kidd, I'm just confident that he's going to a situation where he's going to be built up. Patty Mahomes went to a situation under, you know what I mean? You go play for Big Andy. I love it. The Chiefs, now there's been talk right now. A couple did a great segment, in terms of, you know what I mean? Chiefs getting all these games and, even after my Eagles. Now, again, I was Detroit last year, but I'm from Jersey. I got family in Philly. So I done made it clear. I support the Eagles. I'm keeping it a buck. I wanted Detroit to spread the love last year. That didn't happen. Okay. All right. Fly, Eagles, fly. And they laid them, as I say, they put them heavy ones on the Chiefs. That wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Okay. Forget what the connecting point there. It'll come back to me. Right? Structure, stability being built up. Okay, gonna make the point. We're bringing it back to the Celtics, I promise. NBA gifting Dallas. So Cooper goes there, right? He's gonna be built up. I remember the connecting point now, right? That Mahomes is Mahomes. It's him, but it's also Andy Reid in that optimal situation. So it's not a matter, and like you see, right? Because of Andy Reid's leadership, we're not talking about who's, you know what I mean? Who's, because they do things collectively over there. Bill, this isn't a shot at Bill, even though this with Belichick right now, that's a whole different ball of wax. But it's just getting absolutely buck wild with Bill Belichick. Maybe we'll touch on that in a minute. But what I'm saying in terms of Kansas City, and I am getting back to the Celtics, is that Patrick Mahomes consistently restructures his contract. He has, Andy Reid is able to, have that heavy hand, but what is done is collective and collaborative. Yes, Mahomes restructures his deal so people can get a taste. And then once he does that, he gets some input into who gets that taste. So they have a team that might not blow you away. It might not have a, type, but they got guys that's all locked in together. And that's why, they really, been doing what they've doing, closed up the Ravens window. Ravens need to get on the board, but they can't get past Kansas City. Cincinnati needs to get up. Cincinnati did get past Kansas City, but then, you know what I mean? That's why. Right? It has a lot to do with Mahomes. It has a lot to do with Andy Reid. Put them together. Everybody doing it for everybody. And, so Jason Kidd right now, that's what I'm saying. If it's Cooper, if it's Giannis, I'm confident it's going to work. Adam Silver gives himself a plan A, gives himself a plan B, right? So Cooper can go to Dallas and shine. San Antonio, and that's already been a team that Giannis was considering. Now they got all this draft capital, all right? It's a more seamless situation, even though it does get a little bit, because San Antonio, even without Giannis, is going to be a contender next year. I said what I said. San Antonio without Giannis, this young boy Castle, the pride of UConn, under the capable leadership. What's going on, bro? What's up, man?
Bro.
I put my headphones on. Interested in what you have to say. I got to finish a point that I was making,
All right,
and,
go ahead.
and then we'll just jump in. Should have been prepared. Oh, that's not really a good statement. It's a ridiculous statement. Should have been. Either you're prepared or you're not. Either you got it going. Okay. So get my headphones going on. Finish this take, and then I'll let you go on the Celtics. But I was, and I'm going to bring it back to why I'm concerned as a Knicks fan after this loss, and I'm not just chalking it up to, I'm honestly concerned. Let me get my headphones in. What's up, bro? Good to see you.
Good to see you, bro.
Yeah. So as I'm saying, as I bring it back to the Celtics, right? So the NBA, gifting Cooper, and Dallas can do whatever I think it's better for them to keep Cooper. But then, San Antonio with the second pick, now you're talking about Giannis going to San Antonio and making them, dare I say, a super team, because as I'm saying, they're going to be in the conversation without Giannis because Castle's a dog. De'Aaron Fox is heading back to Texas, just like Karl Anthony Towns coming to New York. So you're going to get prime Fox. And then Wemby's a unicorn. So you got a dog. You know what I mean? You got two pit bulls. That's all-star. Well, De'Aaron Fox is all-star level. Castle maybe another year, but then he's close. And so you got two definite all-stars, and then an aspiring all-star in Castle, and they got some young pieces around them. So San Antonio without Giannis is tough. You put Giannis in there, now you're looking at like a surplus situation. Whereas, so Giannis is going to go buck wild. Wemby's going to go buck wild. Fox is going to get his, and now Castle is going to have to take a little bit less. But so what? Because he's only a second-year guy, and now they're just they have to be considered like top 3 in the league, bar none. Okay, so now let's come all the way back to the Celtics and why the point that I'm making. Right, it's that yes, they don't have Jason Tatum, so they're not dynastic, but Jaylen Brown, champion, dog. People have forgotten. When I say dynastic for the Celtics, I'm specifically within that statement highlighting how much Jrue Holiday, how much surplus value he brings to this team. So now you move Jason Tatum out of the equation. Jrue Holiday can get you 25 points, folks. Like that. Jrue Holiday can just disrupt your entire offense defensively, like that. And what you saw today in the game, which maybe the Celtics, and this is one of my primary criticisms, frankly. And I'm just gonna. Why was Jrue Holiday posting up Jalen Brunson today? Why didn't we see that in the first 4 games? Why weren't you using Jrue Holiday on the block, i.e. what jump in at any time now? The same way that Mark Jackson was used before they came up with NBA, before we had the defensive 3 seconds and illegal defense, and under the capable leadership of Jerry Colangelo, that was, but it used to be you had to guard one person, so you would just scheme these, Mark Jackson would like post guys up and score. So why are we just seeing Jrue Holiday on the block, big body, just bullying people? As if he couldn't have been doing that all series. And yes, they still have Crispy P. Porzingis. You have the 6th man of the year in Pritchard. You have the others, bro, jump in at any time. Al's going to play above, So my point with this is why I'm freaking concerned. The Knicks have been the underdogs and have been riding, like but they've been playing with house money and like throwing it in people's face. Now who's playing with house money? The Celtics. So they're going to go into New York with nothing to freaking lose. And they're talented. The Knicks, you know what I mean? Even like, it's even more, they're talented, but they're somewhat more dangerous because now guys are like Jaylen Brown is like, yo, I'm him. So there's no confusion, like down the stretch, like you guys forgot that you know what I mean? Because it was maybe it goes to Tatum, maybe it goes to Brown. So each guy had to take less. Now JB is like, I'm going to show you I'm the best player on the court, not Jalen Brunson, not Mikal Bridges, not Karl Anthony Towns. I'm the best player on the court. Jrue Holiday is going to be like, Jalen who? What? These guys have now more skin in the game to come out and don't act like they can't do more. Like Crispy P, he's had some injuries, but like don't act like he can't get hot and give you 30.
So this is where it comes down. I'm chiming in now because I think Crispy P's time in Boston may be coming to an end. A man named Luke Make Room in the Budget Cormet is is gonna really win this series for us. And the reason why I say that is he's neutralizing what's the name of your Rich Robinson?
Mitchell?
He's neutralizing Mitchell Robinson on the boards, but now he's giving us a presence at the basket. He had what 5-6 blocks tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
he's been a rim
then-
protector.
And then you add in Derek White's got to be one of the top 5 best two-way players in the whole league.
I forgot about Derek White. I wasn't even including him. That's crazy.
Derek White, I mean, I literally am going to put Derek White right neck and neck with day in, day out. He's just as good as Mikal Bridges. Like, he might even be better because he can actually handle the basketball.
Yeah, Derek White's a dog. He's been, and I didn't even include him in what I was saying. You know, he's a guy that was saying, you know, before, like he was averaging 14, 15, 16, 17 points a game. And so he can get buckets. He can score. Like, and a lot of his scoring and the Celtics, you know, again, too much reliance on the three, but you know, he just gets so many wide open threes because you can't help off anybody else. And he converts those and executes those, but he can also score in isolation situations. He's just getting wide open shots because they were so talented, but you can run him and pick and roll stuff. You can run him from the high post. Like they can do different things with Derek White where he can just, you know, do his thing. So again, you got you got Brown, you got White, you got Holiday, and you got Crispy P, and you throw in Pritchard, Cornette, others. You know, go ahead, bro.
So it's like I know the Celtics gave away 2 games in this series, so it's more so I feel like now we got something to prove, and we've already been leading for what? How many? What you guys been leading 2 quarters out of the whole
Series.
series?
So my phone thought I said Siri.
Yeah. So yeah, you won 2 quarters. So I don't I see you know it comes down to just like kind of careless plays. Cat picking up careless fouls. Like those type of actions will cost you the game. And now you're talking if you lose this next game, it's in New York, right?
Yes.
If you lose this next game in New York, you have no momentum. And you already really don't have any momentum. And you're kind of on your heels going back to New York right now.
True.
Because
You know, now
I mean,
you know you went from this game was house money. Now you go back to New York and it's like we can't get
you have to win.
We have to win this game.
You have to win. Like you go back to New York and it's like, yo, you have to win this game because if it goes 7, it's not Boston's winning it. If it goes 7, Boston's winning it.
Right.
If it goes back to the Garden, Boston's winning it. And just
Complete shift.
After what I saw, after the performance I saw from the Knicks tonight, they're not going back to the Garden and winning.
No.
And
Well, I'm
what
not.
happened
Gonna,
to
I'm not.
OG? I mean, I think with Tatum going out, it kind of changes our lineup defensively because now you have Al and Cormet in there versus Tatum and Tatum and Cormet or Tatum and Al. I mean, I think we were at Tatum and Al actually, and I like Al at the 4 versus Al at the 5.
Yeah, they can go. See, the Celtics can go double bigs because Al and Crispy P can both shoot the three, so it doesn't
Crispy
make a
P got something
difference.
going on, man. He got benched second half. This is like the second game in a row he's gotten benched.
I mean, it might be the link. That this is a situation. You know that's where the Tatum for me, because you have to really, like, he's a guy that you have to load manage, and you have to be super sensitive because he had a really good year in Washington, and that's why I was really excited about him coming to Boston, and then that materialized in terms of, and I'm hook, line, and sinker in that the Celtics shouldn't even, they have to bring their whole team back, regardless of what it costs them. They did. This is not a plug and play situation. This is the group that each one of these players makes them dynastic. If you lose, including Crispy P, they're, that takes away from, and you can't just, you want to play, what? No, Cornette is not Crispy P. Crispy P is Crispy P. You bring the whole team back, guys. Just like the Knicks, guys wanted to be in New York and took deals, spread their money around. So that's what's going to have to happen with the Celtics team. And so it's one thing if guys are like, no, I need to get all my money, then you can go. But I think every one of these guys will say, no, I'm willing to structure a deal that allows us to stay together. And I think that's what the Celtics could do. Now, specific to Crispy P, I just see, it being injury related. It might be a situation, and we do have to get to this in terms of what
Well,
happened yesterday. We
I
have
don't
to
have a
get to
lot
what
of
happened
time.
yesterday. Well, you might have not. All right, bro. You can be on. You're on a short window, so just
Yeah,
just
I
go
got
go, go and
dad duties.
yeah.
I did want
So
to just do a quick take on the Celtics and then a quick take on the Cooper flag situation.
go ahead.
Um, One, wow, Lakers really caught a stray with that one, huh? Lakers really caught a stray with that one. The Mavs end up with Cooper Flag.
Yeah. With a
That
1.8% chance.
1.8 said 1.8. So that's crazy. Also, reports are Dylan Harper will be wearing a San Antonio Spurs jersey next year. I think though that Giannis rumor is kind of out. New reports.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's the rich get richer because San Antonio, like as I said, they have the trifecta. They got the point guard, they got the small forward, they have the center. So now you throw in Dylan Harper. There. It's a situation to me. You know,
I'm here. I'm
it,
listening. Keep
yeah,
going.
it's good. It reminds me of, well, first of all, they're going to be better than the Rockets because the Rockets don't have Wemby, um, but the Rockets are just so loaded with young talent. Now, whether that young talent is able to play under pressure is another thing. But Jalen Green's a top 5 pick. Jabari Smith's a top five pick. Um, Reed Shepard's a top 5 pick. Amen Thompson's like a top 10 pick or whatever, top 5, top 10. So that's like four of their guys are top 7. If not top 5. And you see what they can achieve under the capable leadership of Ime Udoka. So, with the Spurs, who are already, in my view, ready to start climbing the ladder. But then you throw in a young bull like Dylan Harper, who can just come in, and have a year comparable. Like Castle's going to be a year better. So Castle's not going to be, but he's averaging 16, 17 in the West easy, taking on a greater load because they didn't have guys, healthy. So, I think he's going to come out and just maintain that, give you 15, 16, 17 points, strong defense, passing the whole 9 yards. Fox can give you 20 plus. Wemby's giving you 20 plus. So, um, the Spurs.
Yeah.
And again, this is for me, NBA. I understand there's a method to the madness and there's a formula, and these things in the long run work out for the greater good. But You know what I mean? I feel like the 76ers got shafted.
The 76ers went all in, man. Thinking they
You know, but the 76ers, you know, I would have no problem with Cooper going there because they were bad this year because of injuries.
yeah.
You know, other teams like Utah has been tanking for like 5 years. Enough. No. Charlotte, even though I believe in Charles Lee, you know, they got a lot to go to bring stability.
I would not want Cooper to end up in Charlotte. Would not want him to end up in like New Orleans,
Washington, no.
Washington. No, he had to go to a stat like San Antonio, Dallas, or
Philly, Toronto.
Philly. Toronto would have been, but Dallas is cool.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's where, you know, Philly, they get the third, you know, so you have Cooper Flag. Okay. You got Dylan Harper. You got Ace Bailey. So you got three diaper dandies, um, you know, that are just up there. So, you know, if I'm Philly, you know, and I end up getting Ace Bailey rather than, you know, I can't be mad at that. Um, I think Cooper Flag is clearly the best of this group, but I'm not going to sleep on the pride of Rutgers University and Dylan Harper, you know, and the pride of New Jersey and Ace Bailey. That they're going to, you know, that they can have castle-like impacts.
And then so here's my last my take that I gotta go get on daddy duty
Okay,
is the Celtics are 10-2 without Tatum.
all right,
If we win one more game, wait, next game's on what? Friday?
correct.
How nervous are you for Friday?
You know, I'd say, you know, 50%, 50% and growing. You know, I'm no, 50% is a max. And let me just explain clearly why that's the case. Because we still have La Cosa Nova, right? This is still a team with tremendous character and resilience. You know, this is not a front running team by any stretch of the imagination. Um, you would have liked to see them do what Indiana did and take the bull by the horns. Indiana, who you picked, who I was firmly against, but you were firmly for, and that you were 100% right. Uh, you know, Indiana right now is a dark horse. Everybody is going with the big names and markets, but how they just absolutely dismantled the best team in the Eastern Conference, making it appear easy, scoring 42 points in a quarter, you know, being up 30 plus at the half. There's a lot that needs to be said about that series. It's not just that the Cleveland Cavaliers lost; they just got absolutely embarrassed.
What I said is they were the Cleveland Jazz. Okay, that that's what it came down. They were the Cleveland Jazz, man. Copy paste Cleveland Jazz. Literally, look at the team, just the Cleveland Jazz. Rudy Gobert, Jarrett. I don't even know who that four was. Whatever, whatever. Strauss, 0 for 9 in an elimination game, and you texted the team, if you do not believe, do not show up to work. Why did you show up to work? 0 for 9. I saw a lot of air balls. Woo. Yeah. Any chances of LeBron going to Cleveland to end his career? That's done. Hell no. Hell no. Is he going to Cleveland for that?
Looking more likely he ends up in Golden State now. You know, that's another ball of wax. With
he ends up in Golden State now.
LeBron putting out the subliminals. which he's always done his entire career, and everybody knows that he's a media mogul, and so LA is perfect for him. But the situation, never mind the slap in the face, with the Mavericks being gifted Cooper Flag after getting swindled, in my view, in the Luka Doncic trade. But you know, the Lakers, who have two absolute alphas, and when LeBron says, like, and a coach who's not built for that. Like I just talked a little bit about JJ Redick, excuse me, who's he's learning on the job, and now you go
He's not
from
built. He's not built to handle two
right,
supreme. That's like a Phil Jackson job.
right, exactly.
That's not
It's a Greg
like
Popovich job.
yeah.
That's an Eric
That's
Spoelstra job.
yeah. It's a coach who has multiple rings, who has won it multiple times, who is not trying to make a name for himself off of two alphas. So
100%.
yeah, I don't. LeBron says he's not taking less. The Lakers go the route where they think, they really thought Mark Williams was the answer. No, Jackson Hayes, they got really excited. The Lakers got a lot of figuring out to do because they got to move Austin Reeves while he has some value.
He's supposed to be their third quote unquote star. With the Lakers, you know, it's the standpoint of how are they going to play, and I think it's different because you remember Mark Cuban had to come out and say this is Luka's team, period.
Yep,
Mark
that's what
Cuban
I'm
had to
saying.
come out and say and make it clear for everybody in no uncertain terms, and that's a difficult thing to say when you're on a team with LeBron James.
Thank you. They're not going to come out and say that's Luca's team because LeBron's going to be sitting there like this. This is my team, actually. Luca, you just got to LA. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't done nothing here. And one, I'm not taking, Braun has an ego too. Come on now. Braun always wanted somebody to play Robin to him. He didn't want someone to play Superman. And if he was going to go with someone to play Superman, he would have went and played with Steph. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how in his mind he's probably like, all right, I'm going to play with Steph. Like,
Right. And
so all right, I gotta call it.
okay, bro. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it.
I appreciate
you're
you,
busy.
man. I'll jump on next one for a long one. I gotta get on dad duties.
Okay.
Peace.
Yes. Bro, jumping on from the Western. Saw the championship banner proudly has in a place of prominence out there in Arizona. Celtics faithful are bolstered by the victory. So yeah, but just you touched on a couple things that I want to bring into summation, and then we'll do the slice of life and kind of move from there. Thinking to myself, I was doing this and I was doing that, and I think I might have forgot to. So it's gonna. It's funny when you forget things, but we're live, so we got to keep this thing moving. Let me just go check ahead and see a couple people that's still staying with the show and rocking with us. That's great. We're gonna power on. But bottom line, for the Knicks and the Celtics, now this pivotal game 6, and there's some intrigue. And you can't allow yourself to get caught up in the praise and the adulation and look past the job at hand. I'm not saying the Knicks are going to doing that in any way, shape, or form. But they bounced back in game 4 most certainly after the Celtics ran away in game 3, and so I'm looking for this team to bounce back in game 6 and put their best foot forward and seal the deal here and show their Celtics the respect that they deserve. But also to recognize that this is a pivotal moment for this team in Knicks history, to return to the Eastern Conference Finals, and to get into that conversation, to be competing for an NBA championship. Indiana Pacers are no joke, right? They don't have star power. We know Halliburton, and basketball people know some of the, Miles Turner and Matherin is up and coming, but this team, this collective of gifted, players. I said gifted, based on, they just made Cleveland look average, and people have been saying it. Indiana has matched up well with them all year, beat them 3 out of 4 times in the regular season, and and it was just a continuation of that in the playoffs, as we all saw. So I'm a little bit upset, because Kenny Atkinson is a coach that I have a great deal of respect for. He deserved his time, and this just crashed and burned, frankly. And you don't like to see somebody build up something from scratch and have it all going, only to just be, it's shades of the Detroit Lions this year in football, how they had everything going, and then the Commanders just ended it abruptly. Um, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So, you want Cleveland to take this very difficult blow and come back stronger. But at the same time, Indiana Pacers, like, they're not really being thought of in the championship conversation, but they're championship grade. No two ways about it. And the storyline for the league: Knicks, yada yada yada. Knicks have played well against the Pacers. Knicks matched up well against them last year. This is a Carlisle Thibodeau battle. These guys have been going at it for years. But they whoever wins, you got your hands full, because you are what your record says you are, and the Indiana Pacers are dominant. Not just good, they're dominant. Okay, and they're locked into each other. They're locked into their process. They're giving themselves up. They're sacrificing for the greater good, and they are just rolling. So, tonight's game, Minnesota's up double digits. Warriors giving a little bit of go, but kind of conceding, as this game wears on. That you can only do so much. You can it as they say, it is what it is. Shout out. Talk about that Mason Cameron. It is what it is. And it is what it is for the Golden State Warriors right now. Again, you don't want to see teams go down because of injuries. You want to beat a team, a squad at full strength. You don't need no participation. You don't need any give me this, that, and the third. Right. Talk a lot about this being a passion project and just being happy to be here and being able to do this. Okay. But one thing, this happens, the third happens, and you're kind of at half strength, but you're still kind of just, move forward as best you can. So that's kind of where the Warriors are. And the Timberwolves, unlike the New York Knicks, are taking full advantage. And they're getting them up out of there. Okay. In terms of Nuggets, Thunder, these last 2 games could have gone either way. Thunder were able to come back. Credit to them, learning from the experience of last year, and being in this moment, in these moments. They've shown growth, frankly. Now, you're right. Well, they would have faded last year and gone down. This year, they're winning these pivotal games against championship-grade opponents, and it's wild. Right? Denver was up 8, 9, 10 in Game 4. Storm back and won it. Same thing. Denver's up 7, 8, 9 points. Game 5, storm back and win it. So, these guys are young. See them all in the group picture. They're locked in the team. Presti, talk about elite executives. Bringing in iHeart. Again, somebody built up under the Tom Thibodeau leadership. Bringing in Caruso. Lakers shouldn't have given him away in the first place. You know, so that you want to knock them for quote unquote inexperience, but they've got the experience. All right, and they out there balling out and shining bright. So as we do, you know, we're going to continue on. And we have our slice of life stuff that we do. The slice of life stuff, you know, that and these are pretty cool. You know, this is a pretty cool channel that, you know, before they were famous. So let's take a look at J Kidd. We've been talking about Jason Kidd. But before we knew him as J Kidd, playing for the Pilots. $1991. Hey!
I remember Jason as a freshman saying, that, Coach, I'd love to be the number one player in the nation when I graduate. That was his goal.
Here we go. Watch it. Lamb jam. Woo!
I just don't know what's inside him that makes him play so hard all the time. I mean, it's an amazing quality, and that's what makes him so great.
And Jason Kidd has the ball in the open floor. Behind the back dribble. To the goal, he rises.
He had hit a basket late in the game. They were going to win, but it was still close. And the guy inbounded the ball through it to half court. Jason went down and intercepted the pass. His greatest play will be in the pros. We just haven't seen it yet.
Being with him so long, you know, I'm amazed at guys like Dick Vitale that'll say make a few plays and stuff like that and go wild. We used to see this every day in practice.
Jason Kidd. Oh, yeah. Rakeford with it, goes cross court, has it stolen by Ely. Ahead to Jason Kidd. Oh, yeah.
Everybody expected you to win this year, right? And Jason already announced he was going to Cal, and the heat was on. Did you ever sense during this season that maybe this fellow was looking ahead? It sure didn't seem like it, but was there ever a point where you had to say, Jason, we got to concentrate now, and Cal will take care of itself?
No, never.
Yeah.
Never, not once at all. He's so dedicated and he plays so hard and you don't have to worry about that.
J Kidd. You know, and those elite intangibles, right? That we've been talking about. You know, referencing Drew Holiday. You know, and how he's an elite player, but he's also an elite person. Team first, lead by example person. And right, that's what was just highlighted over and over and over about J Kidd. And you can see the greatness why, you know, you can see the first, you know, why he's first ballot Hall of Famer. So we're going to stay right, similar theme. I'm kind of learning a bit because what I used to do is stop sharing, but what I'm going to do is keep sharing and then just boop, boop, and move the link over. Let's look at Ray Allen.
What does it take to win a state championship?
Skill, good players, and lucky. Our goal every time we start practicing basketball is to win a state championship.
During the 92-93 basketball season, the Hillcrest Wildcats of Dazzell were the team to watch. The small gym intimidated opponents. There was no air conditioning. The fans were on top of you, and your chances of winning were slim.
Most teams, when they came in, they couldn't play in that environment. It was almost like they were scared to walk in the door.
And we had guys that knew their roles, knew their jobs, and we went in and everybody did their job. And we practiced hard, and we played, and we went out and had fun.
You can come to the gym, and people are already lined up to try to get into a 5-bleacher gym with one stage and one wall.
And you had the fans pulling on their shorts when they're taking the ball out, you know.
The atmosphere was just electric. I mean, from the time we walked out or jogged out, you could just feel the electricity.
Former NBA star and Basketball Hall of Famer Ray Allen was the spark to the electric atmosphere. Most people recognize him for his three-point shot, but in the 90s, things were different.
Ray was a real high flyer. So it was like, you saw all this stuff early on, but you just didn't know it would go into the NBA in the later years.
He was quiet, but he showed what he wanted you to do just by his actions. We could have put him on the varsity, but I had a rule that all ninth graders had to play B team. I told my JV coach, you won't see Ray Allen on the JV team.
I didn't realize how good Ray was until I got older.
One summer in particular, something just a switch hit, and it put him a little bit above everybody else as far as talent is concerned.
The man on the sidelines that pushed these players to be their best was head coach James Smith.
Coach Smith was go out here, play hard, go out here, stand for something.
He wanted the best out of us, and he pushed us into being better.
He would go in on us, I must say.
Sometimes we'd have to run just because.
We won a game, but we didn't get a dunk in the game. We didn't have any dunks that game. We had to run the next day in practice because he said we didn't put on a show for the fans. So at that point, I was like, man, we won the game. Is this dude crazy? We won.
I don't remember that.
But it sounds like something you make a run for.
Yeah, I'll probably make them run for it.
What does it take to win a state championship?
Skill, good players, and lucky. Our goal every time we start practice basketball is to
skill,
win
you
a state
play, you need some
During
luck.
the 92-93 basketball season, the Hillcrest Wildcats of Dazzell were the team to watch. The
Well, he's
small
not running
gym
this back,
intimidated
man.
opponents. There was no
These
air
packed
conditioning.
gyms are
The
just
fans were on
nuts.
top of you, and your chances of winning were slim.
Most teams, when they came in, they couldn't play in that environment. It was almost like they were scared to walk in the door.
And we had guys that knew their roles, knew their jobs, and we went in and everybody did their job. And we practiced hard, and we played, and we went out and had fun.
You can come to the gym, and people are already lined up to try to get into a 5-bleacher gym with one stage and one wall.
And you had the fans pulling on their shorts when they're taking the ball out, you know.
The atmosphere was just electric. I mean, from
it's
the
tough
time
to
we
play.
walked out or jogged out, you could just feel the
It's tough to play in those little bandbox gyms. But that's what makes high school sports what it is. So Sugar Ray, yes sir, yes sir. We'll do one more slice of life. We got a couple things. We got a couple. And I one episode we'll get into, I don't want to, I want to kind of conscious of like the mood. We got some deeper topics, not that what we're saying is not, but I want to, so just the flow of tonight is the flow of tonight and, kind of upward mobility. So that's what we're going to stick with for tonight. And then going forward, we'll get into some of the challenges that's out there, right? No great war, no great depression. Tyler Durden. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our great depression is our lives. We'll get into more Fight Club stuff. Let's take a look at Denzel.
Denzel Washington have $280 million, but still make his kids pay for college. Denzel has been one of Hollywood's highest paid actors for over 15 years, earning $20 million per movie. Despite his wealth, he still wears that same old army jacket from Glory, has lived in the same Harlem brownstone for 40 years, and drives a 1992 Chevy Suburban to pick up his grandkids from school. His only luxury, a gold-plated pocket watch his wife gave him 38 years ago. So So where does all his money go? In the U.S., people call him a living legend, and for good reason. Denzel donated all his Equalizer salary to build 12 eye clinics in Africa. Every year on his birthday, he gives $7 million to help black students attend college. During the pandemic, he even rented 30 cargo planes to send medical supplies to Ghana. He often says, money rots in your pocket, but it shines when you share it. Do you like Denzel Washington? Drop a comment and let us know.
We got to watch this again.
Why does Denzel Washington have $280 million but still make his kids pay for college? Denzel has been one of Hollywood's highest paid actors for over 15 years, earning $20 million per movie. Despite his wealth, he still wears that same old army jacket from Glory, has lived in the same Harlem brownstone for 40 years, and drives a 1992 Chevy Suburban to pick up his grandkids from school. His only luxury? A gold-plated pocket watch his wife gave him 38 years ago. So where does all his money go? In the U.S., people call him a living legend, and for good reason. Denzel donated all his Equalizer salary to build 12 eye clinics in Africa. Every year on his birthday, he gives $7 million to help black students attend college. During the pandemic, he even rented 30 cargo planes to send medical supplies to Ghana. He often says, money rots in your pocket, but it shines when you share it. Do you like Denzel Washington? Drop a comment and let us know.
So it rots in your pocket, but that thing gonna shine when you share it. Golden State making a 12-point game, 7 minutes to go. We'll see if they can close the gap in this here situation. I might have noted this, again, this episode, this is coming from a lot of gratitude tonight. And we started the show with gratitude. We're ending the show with gratitude. It is what it is. Shout out to the Odd Couple. Thank you so much. It's crazy, just to even be considered, be on the hot seat. Who am I? So, it's just wild, right? You have your moment, and then you got to get up and go to work tomorrow. That's what my grandfather used to say. He said you got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Huh? So you're gonna get up, go to work, and start again, and just keep, But those moments, you know what I mean. Got to give a shout out, Maller Militia, Ben Maller. Folks shouted out the episode, and it's just, in the grand scheme of things, it's just one night of a show on a national network, and there's gonna be plenty of nights of the show. But for individuals at times, you get your little moment, and that just, it makes a world of difference. So what does that have to do with Denzel Washington? Right? Some people that are filthy rich and successful, and you're like, I'm glad. Like, they deserve it. I can do my working class hero thing in just one day to the next, but I'm happy he's got close to $300 million. I'm happy. I go to bed happy that man got $300 million, and and I'm trying to come over here with this payment for that, and try to do this. It's like, it is. I'm happy in my struggles, and it's all levels to it. I got a lot of first world problems. Let's make that clear. But I'm happy in my struggles, and I'm happy that man's got close to $300 million because of how he carries it. Like here on the Cape, Adam Sandler has properties out here, and Summer's here, like a lot of other folks on the Cape and Islands. We see, like, the world comes out to the Cape and Islands, but, just the most down to earth. You made a movie here a couple years back now, and it's just, every report is just the most down to earth dude. Take the picture, sign the autograph, buy everybody's dinner when he eats out at the restaurant, tip this, tip that. Just like super down to earth, and just like gets it. Does he have to give? No, it's his money. He earned it, the whole 9 yards. Is there a theory of actual trickle-down economics? Like it actually trickling down? Not going to get too political, but like, yes, I'm here. I can't afford to spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and that's not impacting much of anything. I'm still going to, make my 10, 15, 20% on my monies, right? Me infusing that $5,000 into this business, I'm still going to be super good. That money's not going to rot in my pocket. It's going to go out. I had a good meal. I had a good experience. I can do this. you guys can be super duper. You know what I mean? You get a $300, $400, $500 tip or whatever. I mean, that, you know what I mean? You're uplifted. I'm uplifted. We just keep it moving. Do rich folks have to do these things? No, it's their money. I can get a $7 tip. And that's what it is. And I just keep it pushing. But though, and you can't always, these things, right? The exception has to be the exception. Can't be the rule. I always get greedy and want more. It's not the way it works. Can't be the rule. It has to be the exception. But those exceptional occurrences really give you all you need for your journey, if we're being honest. That one just wow, that gift that keeps on giving, right? Because as you're on, it's just there. Okay, you're up now. Next thing you know, you're gonna be down. You come back up. You next thing you know, but you can. Oh man, remember that time? Yeah, we saw so and so. That was all right. Yeah, okay, that was a good. I mean, you just keep referring back, and it gives you the fuel to just keep moving. So that's where we're gonna end it tonight. That money rot in your pocket, but it shine when you share it. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. You know what it is. Hey! What?